Let's get started this morning with Dr. Sue. Dr. Suzette Husband, as you know, is an author. And the last time we met, she left us with a teaser, which is My Little Handbook. Good morning to you, Dr. Suzette. Dr. Sue?
Good morning, Pearson. How are you?
I'm doing well today. How are you doing?
I am well. I am well. Good morning, Barbados.
You know, when I think of My Little Handbook, I kept flashing through my mind. You know, if I want to know the definition of a word, I reach for the dictionary. If I want to understand a little bit more about geography, I probably reach for the atlas, for instance. Those kinds of things. But sometimes when it comes to life, though there's the Bible, some people find it a little difficult to break it down. Is that what My Little Handbook helps me to achieve?
My Little Handbook is really, well, first of all, the target audience is children. So it's really about giving children some key life skills. So they're really just 5 major things that you want them to, values that you want them to hold on to throughout their entire lifetime. So that's what it is. The play on handbook really is that they use their hand to remember each of the values. So that's the idea.
So my big hand is in the screen now. Let's go through those 5. Those 5 are by topic.
So by topic, so the pinky, so let's start with the pinky. The pinky is about honesty.
Honesty.
The ring finger is about commitment.
Commitment.
The middle finger is about loving others.
Loving others.
The 4th finger is about responsibility. And the thumb is about loving God.
All right, thumbs up to that.
That's right. So these are 5 values, and what you want them to do is to remember them by just remembering, you know, per finger, which one relates to which value. Yeah.
You know, I wish you'd done a nursery rhyme on that, because I go like, this little piggy went to market, this little pig, you know what I'm talking about, right? So perhaps that helps me to remember a little bit easier. So the whole idea is, but the thing is, it's a guide. It's a guide through navigating life, and sometimes children are buttressed by so many other things happening around them, and so they want to be able to be settled, and we as adults would want them to be settled and clear on the path forward to becoming good citizens and good God-fearing people.
Exactly, and that's the idea, because, you know, when you speak of honesty, honesty is something that is a lifetime value. You know, we don't stop being honest after we get a certain age.
True.
You want them to be honest. And so you want to let them understand what honesty means. And it basically refers to, which is what the book says, you know, I will not lie, I will not cheat, I will not steal. Simple. They're going to remember that little saying, and they're going to remember that their little pinky finger speaks to that. You also want them not to give up easily when they have things doing, get frustrated because it isn't working out. That is a quality that you want to take through life. So you want them to stick with it. And that's what the little phrase says. It says, you know, I will stick with it. And then, you know, this middle finger has been used for many things, but we want to reframe what that middle finger is. And instead of cussing off people with it, you want to use it instead to love others. So that's what that middle finger really is about.
Yes.
and then that 4th finger, you know, as parents, we tend to do this a lot.
Wag it,
and so this is to remind them about, you know, take responsibility for your things, look after your stuff, all those things. These are things that children need to learn, and certainly adults need to remember and take throughout their entire life. So that's the idea of the book. The book then comes as well with a manual for the parent. So the child has a little book for him or herself that they can walk around with, but then the parent has a book that will also carry with it then a story that relates to the particular value that you want the child to remember. And so that's the kind of idea that My Little Handbook is about. Really trying to get children to focus in on those things that are going to make them, as you said, good citizens, godly people who will live out life in every stage of life, understanding these key things that will undergird every single decision that they're going to make as they traverse life. So that's the kind of idea.
What I love is how it's depicted. You know, it's pretty. And it's in blocks. You see the hand, and so it stimulates every sense that we as a human being, from a child to the adult, would have to be able to respond to it. And so it makes it very
Yes.
practical and very easy to do. Now, speaking of practical, are there exercises that I can track my child with as we go through the different 5 fingers?
Oh man, you're not giving me ideas, but there are no exercises particularly, but I found that people who have used it have done that. So they've taken the concept and then they've then helped the children to do it. They give them exercises, they give them activities, or they ask them to remind themselves of what those things are. Or they focus on a particular value for the week, and then everything that that value speaks about, they work them through for that whole week,
Right,
so that they have
right.
time to, get it into their minds and sink in, and so that it becomes a part of who they are.
Yep.
There's a little story about a little guy whose mom was saying something and she was not telling the truth, and he signaled to her what the pinky finger says. So it's also a tool for parents to keep on the right track because
Yes,
the
and
children are watching you.
so true, so true. And that's why I like that it has a marriage with the adult book as well, because you can't
That's
lie to
right.
children anymore, ladies and gentlemen, parents all.
No, no.
Children are expecting you to tell them the truth. And so you need to be
That's right.
ready to meet that child. And so the adult version of it allows the parent to prepare, because that's it, that's so critical.
Yes.
Prepare everything,
Yes.
as you said,
Yes.
every single week for a different finger, for a different learning for the child as well. And in
That's right.
preparation, it guides you as to some of the rich lessons that ought to come out from every experience.
That's right. That's
I love
right.
it.
And as I was saying, these are lessons that aren't going to die with a child. I've worked in HR, and within the working context, sometimes you can see whether or not, as a child, people have had certain values that impact or influence their thinking and their decision making. You can see it. And
Yes.
so what you want to do is you want to permeate that through society, and you want to start from a small. This is Child's Month. Children are really a plain white canvas that you
Yes.
want to start writing on when they are born. And so as early as possible, you want to be saying, doing, behaving, transferring all of the key values that you want to see them take through life. And we do that not only by talking and by training and by teaching, we do that by living it. So
Yes.
we ourselves have to now take on those attributes that we want to see them, because values are easier caught than taught.
You're so true.
And we have
So
to remember
true.
that.
I mean, when you think of
Yeah.
value come with another V, like a virus, values, let it become
Yeah.
viral, the values, let's
That's right.
that one.
I love it, Pearson. Can I borrow that from you?
You may do so. Just remember to credit
I
me every
may.
time.
I will, most definitely.
But what I'm hoping from this experience, though, is that parents don't think it's too difficult, because it truly is not. To be able to use
No.
this as a tool to assist them in becoming far more effective parents, and for your child to become a far more effective person. And that's why it's so critical to get these into your hands, the 5 fingers, to
That's
understand
right.
what those mean, and those 5 values. Now, as always, I like
Yes.
to remind people how to access all of this. And I know we can always give you a
Yes.
call, or we can send you an email.
That's right. So you can give me a call at 233-2193, or you can email me at Dr. Sue Inspirations, plural, at gmail.com. You can reach me there and you can have a copy. These books are available. They're right here in Barbados. So you want to get a hold of them. Lots of information. You can take each value. Each value has an individual statement attached to it. So then you get more out of it. You can pull more. Things like I will love others. That's explained in terms of being kind, in terms of sharing, in terms of being a friend. I will love God. That's in terms of praying, reading your Bible, obeying God. So the child will have not only that overarching statement, but then little things that relate to that, so that in their minds they understand what each statement means, what each finger represents. It then comes with additional information that you can work with your child, talk with your child about. This is important. Remember, children are a reward from the Lord, and we want to make sure that we do well with what God has placed in our hands, because we only have them for a certain time. Once they're 18, they're adults
On their
then.
own.
You've done your work already. That's it.
You know, This is so interesting because just this morning while we were in the makeup room, our makeup artist Safia, we were talking about the same thing, how precious children are and how critical it is for us to care for those little things and nurture them in the way that we know they ought to grow up. I mean, that happened with Jesus. And if it happens with him, we are to follow the example and do it with our children as well.
Oh man. Oh, most definitely. And Jesus would have developed him.
You see
Am I talking again? My time going again?
You know,
no. And
you
you're doing an excellent job. You're doing an excellent job.
I know you would say that. So remember, folks, all of these real gems are available. Just call Dr. Sue. Let's put the information is right there on the screen. Everybody, take a look at it.
That's right.
The number to call is 233-2193, 233-2193, or you can send your email to Dr. Sue Impressions. Inspirations, yes. Inspirations, technical people. Dr. Sue Inspirations at gmail.com. Dr. Sue Inspirations at gmail.com. So we have Leading Beside.
Leading Beside, yes.
We have the My Little Handbook. And
we have 30 plus 1.
Transformational thoughts. That's right. So we have all of those available as real tools to developing the person, developing the family, developing the society, and making us more God-centered than we probably think ourselves to be. So it's really great. Thank you so much, Dr. Sue. So,
thank you again.
Talk to my people. My people will talk to you, and we'll see what we'll do next week, all right?
That's right. No problem. I am looking forward to that.
Great. Thank you so very much. Dr. Susan Husband's there. You're welcome. And remember, that book is called My Little Handbook. Just contact her and have access to it. It will bring a tremendous relief to your experience with your children and perhaps with yourself as well. A break, and when we come back, more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning.